All right, welcome back in for another episode of the Lowdown Sports Show. This show is brought to you by Fanatics and T Public. I'm your host Drew,
I'm BJ.
and we're here once again to get the lowdown on all things basketball,
All those things.
all of the things in the NBA and in the WNBA. In the NBA, an NBA great has announced his retirement. Carmelo Anthony hanging it up after 19 years in the league. His former team, the Nuggets, have made their very first NBA Finals. LeBron teasing a possible retirement. And on the WNBA side, it began this past weekend, and we've had some action, and we're going to talk about a little bit of stuff that's going on so far. Is one team being disrespected early?
Mhm.
And talk about Brittney Griner's return to the court after a long time away and away
Away.
from the
Yeah.
game.
hmm
All that plus BJ's best. What's on Drew's mind and with it or quit it.
I already told Drew I think he's going to have fun with today's BJ's Best, so you be on the lookout for that coming up here in a bit.
We'll get it rocking then, BJ. Let's get going here.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, man. One of the greats of the game retired, Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo
hmm
Anthony, 8 seasons in Denver, 7 seasons in New York, two in
Yeah.
Portland, one in OKC, LA, and Houston.
It did not feel like he was in New York for nearly as long as he was in Denver. Like, when I think of Carmelo Anthony, I obviously think of him as a Nugget. I think that was kind of when he was at his peak at the beginning of his career, obviously, and then once he got traded to New York, things started to be on the downhill for him. I think he was still impactful and still a great player, but something that to me just always associates him with the Nuggets and how many times he and George Karl would be in the Western Conference Plus, and obviously I know we'll talk more about it here in a moment, but the fact that they came close in '09 with him, but he wasn't able to get to the NBA Finals just on the same day that he retires. It just seems like a knife being plunged into his back and given the old like twister of like cruel irony in that. Just crazy.
Yeah, it's tough. And when you look at it, it was actually a split 7.5 years, 7.5 years,
Yeah,
Denver and New York, because he got traded during the 10-11 season
that's right.
to the Knicks. So um, it's a pretty split career there for Melo in those two locations. Everywhere else, he wasn't there too long. Only
hmm
multiple seasons in Portland. The other three locations, just one single season. But
Yeah.
BJ, a cool little interesting stat is you're looking into stuff about Carmelo Anthony and his illustrious career. We know him to be a dynamic scorer, one of the game's greats, and
hmm
finishing in the top 10 all time.
Yeah.
And did you know, BJ, that Carmelo Anthony averaged at least 20 points per game in each of his first 14 seasons?
Well, I know he averaged 22 and a half for the entirety of his career, which is just tough to do. I mean, when you get off to that hot of a start with 20, plus points per game in your first 14 seasons, it makes sense. Um, I didn't know that that was the specific stat.
And can you name the other 6 players that have done that in their career?
Mm. Well, let's see. I would
First
think
14 seasons. There's six
first
other guys.
14. All right. So let's see. LeBron,
Check.
Michael Jordan, is he on that list?
Check.
Okay. Larry Bird,
No.
maybe? No? Okay. Wilt Russell, Wilt
Wilt?
Chamberlain.
I
Sorry,
was about to
Wilt
say,
Chamberlain. Yeah.
did you just combine these guys? Neither one of them.
Neither one of them.
Neither one.
Oh man. Okay.
Man, you started out hot. Now you're
I
fumbling
know.
it.
Kobe?
Nope.
No.
Kobe
Okay.
only 11 straight seasons.
11. Well, I knew he was up there. I thought it was double digits, but I didn't know how many for sure.
Come on, you got four more.
Four more. Elijah one.
Nope.
No. Wow. Shaq?
Yes.
Okay, Shaq makes sense. Is Curry on the list?
Not this list.
Not this list. Okay.
Same one with Kobe though.
All right. Okay.
You're halfway there. You got LeBron, Mike,
And
and Shaq.
yeah, let's see here.
Who else is a dynamic
Kar-
scorer? BJ,
Kareem.
active and retired. There you go. Now
Kareem.
you got four. There's one that's active.
One that's active. Got to be Kevin Durant, I would think.
There you go.
Okay.
Now you got one more.
One more. Hmm. Is this player's not active? It sounds like that.
He is not. He is not active.
Okay. Man, trying to think of eras. I'd
Do you want
I'd
a
be
hint?
I'd be tempted to say Tim Duncan, maybe.
Nope.
Okay,
That's a good
that was
try
a good
though.
good guess. I
That's a
thought.
good guess.
Sure, I'll take a hint.
76ers.
Uh, Dr. J.
Nope.
Irving. No. Okay, it's not Iverson, is it?
Yes, it is.
It is AI. Okay.
Six right
All right.
there.
Wow.
Yes, indeed.
I didn't realize how many points. I guess for the first, I didn't think it was 14 seasons. I knew that
14
for to
straight.
start off
Allen
his
Iverson.
career, it was great, but I didn't know 14 specifically.
Hey, Ice, you almost had it. You got it the second time there though.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But yeah, those are your six along with Carmelo Anthony, and I
That's
believe he
crazy.
finished eighth
That's a.
all time in scoring
I think
after
that's
19
right.
seasons. Yeah,
That's,
so there you
I can
go.
look. Let's see.
Yeah, if you want to double check, there you go. Yeah, it was a huge hint when I said Sixers. So I mean, I was surprised you went with Dr. J first when I said that because that's not the immediate 76er who comes to mind when you say
Yeah,
76ers.
I just thought I was thinking scoring, and then the Sixers, and then so I
That's
thought,
fair.
well, let me try the old era first, and then I was like, after it wasn't Irving, I was like, it has to be Allen Iverson.
Yeah, but man, Carmelo Anthony, one of the better players that I've seen growing up. We got to see him play. He's one of those great dynamic scorers that we get to watch. Uh, throughout the entirety of his career. He came into the league the same year as LeBron in '03,
Hmm.
and we saw everything. Through that Nuggets and Knicks era, the battles with Kobe, then the battles with LeBron, and you know, Melo, he just after he left those first two spots, it became a journeyman career for the final, four seasons of his career, 4 or 5 seasons of his career there, and he could never stick to a spot. It was always best having him as a number one option. And remember the illustrious when he got to OKC when they asked him a question of if he was going to come off the bench, and he laughed at it. So that was just one of the memorable moments from Melo there, laughing at coming off of the bench there, and you saw that the
Yeah,
the third option and the second option roles never really worked out for Carmelo in his career. But when you're a dynamic scorer like that, and uh, how much of a focal point of the offense he always was, like those big names that we always mention, it's hard to imagine those guys in other than a number one role. 'Cause I mean, like,
yeah,
when you think of those players that that I mentioned that scored 20 plus points per game in their first 14 seasons. They were old by the time they got that role, which
yeah,
Melo was as well, but it just doesn't fit as well once they shift down to it. Like Shaq as a two option is lucky he got Wade to get that other championship, or he would have finished
yeah.
his career probably not getting one. Um, and the same thing with
What
Kareem
about
and
the three
finding the
that he got with
stars.
Kobe though?
No, I'm saying like when they get older,
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
and they're not the same player. They're a
Out
two
of the
option.
prime,
They're
yeah,
probably not going to get championships.
yeah,
Special case, LeBron, in 2020, I don't even know if he would call him a number two because he won the Finals MVP.
yeah. I wouldn't.
So
Any
you
team that
would,
he's on, yeah, he can't be the number two. By
right?
the way,
So
you were asking this list according to Basketball Reference. Melo comes in 11th, so I guess he just misses the top 10.
oh, he missed it.
28,289 is where he
Okay,
finished, and he's 11th behind LeBron, Kareem, Karl Malone, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dirk, Wilt Chamberlain, Julius Irving, Moses Malone, and Shaq.
dang. He got pushed out by Kevin Durant, I believe, huh? I think KD has.
KD's
Yeah,
15th.
he's
He's still on his way up the list. He's behind Dan Issel, Elvin Hayes, and Hakeem Olajuwon.
Huh. You said you were on Basketball Reference, right?
Yeah,
Huh. Oh, that's why it was looking weird.
but yeah,
Gotcha.
it's
Well,
got
man, see, we got two different things. NBA.com's got Melo at number 9 right now,
hmm.
and Kevin Durant at 13.
Well, okay, so
So,
this says NBA and ABA. Maybe that's why. I thought it was
yeah,
just NBA.
yeah, probably. But yeah, so like the post that came out when he retired, that's where I was seeing, finishing inside the top 10. I knew he was somewhere around that. And maybe if you filter that to just NBA, he's in
Yeah, I
the
was
top 10.
trying to figure out how I can do that. It won't.
But yeah, I mean, still, I mean, we know him as one of those dynamic scorers, and
Yeah,
you
here we
see,
go. He
yeah,
is number 9 according to just
right,
NBA.
yeah.
Sorry.
So, there was always talk about Melo in his career. Like, does it define him that he didn't win a championship? Like, how much does that affect his legacy, or does it affect his legacy? It affected, probably affected him as a player for a little bit. Mentally, you want to win that championship, and then, VJ. Now he's saying he's at peace with it.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
believe him?
I you feel like you have to. I mean, that's if he wasn't, he would have tried to find a way back either late this season or late last season to be in a position to possibly go on that kind of a run. He would have done some of the things later on in his career that some of the other guys across the league have in terms of going for that ring. He says that he got the job done when he was at Syracuse in college with Jimmy Boeheim in 2003, and that is true. I mean, I don't know if that has the same weight to it that an NBA title would, but it's still certainly a team accomplishment, a team championship that he will be able to always fondly remember and look back on and say, hey, I was part of that. We did that, and so I think I think I take him at his word that he is at peace with it. I have no reason to disagree with him. At least I'm not in his headspace. I can't speak to his state of mind or anything, but I don't have a reason to not believe him on this.
A little bit easier to say that in hindsight, though, eh? And
Well, yeah, I
Melo,
mean, yeah,
the last team he was a part of, the Lakers.
yeah, that's true. I mean, you look at the 2020 just coming off that and then playing for playing with the talent that they had that they could have potentially, and it
Hmm.
didn't work out. I mean, but at the same time, you look at also opportunities like the '09 squad that lost to Kobe and
Hmm.
the Lakers. I mean, if he just wanted to be like in the role that Udonis Haslam is in, maybe the Nuggets
Yeah.
can. Well, I was just gonna say maybe the Nuggets can bring him on to the bench as a as a cheerleader or whatever, and if they win it
Carmelo
all,
Anthony could never humble himself to sit like a
no,
Tracy McGrady did for the Spurs on the pine watching other players play for the championship.
no, I
He'd
know he
have to be
would
getting
not.
minutes out there. It probably, he was probably sick in those, those last years, with the Lakers and things like that, where his role was very diminished. He didn't see a
Yeah,
whole lot of time. It was, but nah, he couldn't be a McGrady and sit there and watch
that's
him play up in the
that's never
finals
been
like
the kind
that.
of player he was. Is the
Yeah, I
thing,
mean, it's
and
just not in him, and
yeah, and
you
that's
can't.
why.
It's so hard for players to go from a one to don't see any role at all.
Yeah,
You rarely see players that are able to eat it like that and able to sit like a Tracy McGrady, but he just didn't have it anymore.
and
Um,
that's why I say I
and a
have to
Paul
take him
Pierce
at it.
didn't have it
Yeah, that's why I say I have to take him at his word because if that was the kind of player he was, if he was okay with not having that kind of role and going after the title, he would have done that. He wouldn't have retired now at this point, and he might have said hey, I'll sit on the bench and provide some veteran leadership. I don't need any minutes. Just let me be there, and if we can get closer to attaining that title together. But that's not the kind of person, not the kind of player he is.
first ballot Hall of Famer, BJ.
Has to be. Ninth all time in scoring. Member of the All 75 NBA team that just came out last year. I mean, I
10-time
don't.
All Star,
Yeah,
six-time All NBA, scoring champ.
yeah, he's up over 7,000, almost over 7,500 rebounds in his career, 3,400 assists. Um, I mean, I can't imagine that he wouldn't be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I
And
totally agree.
and NBA, basketball Hall of Fame is not the most stringent on who gets in or not. There won't be any waiting time that because they want to they do it right in a certain way because they want to honor you know as many as they can as quickly as they can, and that's why you get some of these star-studded classes based on I mean we got what Dirk and Dwayne Wade coming up in here this summer
Hmm.
in Springfield, Massachusetts. I mean, that's going to be great. And
Oh yeah.
so I don't think Melo needs to wait. I don't think he's going to wait. There's no doubt in my mind he's going to be in the first ballot.
Yeah, and he's eligible in class of 2026. So I imagine we'll see him definitely a part of that class
Here's a
right
question.
there. That's I mean that's kind of honestly, and I mean it's just kind of a toss up right there because if you look at it, if you have this answer and you say the answer is all NBA and same thing
Mhm.
for football, all pros, then you look at the greats of the game a bit different because I mean, you look at Tom Brady; he's got a bajillion uh, Pro Bowl appearances,
Yeah.
nowhere near as many All Pros if you
No,
look at him on Pro
you
Football
think
Reference.
think
But
about how many great players there have been. I mean, it's the same argument
I
with Pro Bowl as there is for All Pro.
I would say starting at or like All Stars and like Pro Bowl, it's important because like the more you have, that the more it shows your consistency and your longevity.
Yes.
And then like once you match up with somebody with about the same, then it's all NBA versus you know all pro versus all pro and all NBA versus all NBA.
Well,
But
I think
starting
especially
out, I would say all star
yeah, I would
probably.
say All Star as well. I mean, you talk about just look at how many. They've got three teams, Drew, and so you mean to tell me they're basically what like six guards at most, four guards, six to nine guards each year that are the best of the best, and only two of them are going to be first team. Like, I mean, that
Basically, it's just levels,
yeah
really, because I
yeah.
mean they both have a significant level of importance.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like if you've got just as many All NBAs as you've got All Stars, I mean that's pretty dang important too.
That's yeah huge. Yeah.
So I
I
mean,
mean, what Luka Doncic is doing right now? He's gotten kind of every All Star appearance. He's gotten the first team All NBA selection thus
yeah,
far,
I mean, like
and
I mean,
I don't know if I agree this year that maybe he should have been. He had a great season, but I don't know. I mean, it just that to me it felt like I don't know. I
on a
think that
historic pace though.
yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of Carmelo Anthony, we talked about his Nuggets. His Nuggets' first trip to the NBA Finals. They didn't make it when he was there, but they made it led by a two-time MVP in Nikola Jokic, who's having an all-time playoff run here and looking to cap it off with the franchise's first ever championship against either the Miami Heat or the Boston Celtics because the Celtics forced a game five. It's going to be played tonight, BJ. And while we're here, go ahead and give me who you got winning the game five.
I think Boston wins and really puts the pressure on
Ooh,
Miami going home for Game 6.
ooh, okay. I
Yeah.
think I think Jimmy Butler and the Heat rout the Celtics tonight and end it in five.
Okay.
I think it's done tonight. If they win another one, like Jalen Brown and them said, don't let them get one, and they win two, and
Yeah.
I
Then
mean it
you
just
got to
happens
watch
like that.
out.
Then hey, I'll eat
We,
crow when we come on back. But
we
I think
just talked about it last week about or
nail in the
in the
coffin
past couple
happening
weeks
tonight.
about the 3-0 deficit.
As as we
Maybe.
record here on a Thursday, nail in the coffin tonight for the
That's
Celtics.
that's the best case scenario if you're a fan of the Heat. You don't
It
want
just
to give them life. You
it
don't want
doesn't
to get that series back home.
it doesn't even matter who goes to the finals because they're losing to Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic as the
Probably.
Nuggets get their first
So
ever
so much for
chance.
that bubble rematch, Drew.
Yeah, no, it didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
It's all right though.
But
Nuggets though, that's super dope. Franchise history though. Jamal Murray with his crazy running the bubble back then had the injury, was out for forever, and then just came back and is now in the NBA Finals with his team. It took a while to kind of get going this year
yeah,
too. Getting back in rhythm, and he's just kind of burst onto the scene again. Playoffs like he never left the court, and he's in the finals. He's in the finals. And he had a 50-40-90 conference finals. The first ever
That's
player
just
to
crazy.
put up 50-40-90 in the conference finals. And I think it was average 25 points per game as well or more.
Just
As a,
insane, man. Just
just
insane.
another
Th-
level.
this team feels like the 21 Bucks all over again. I think that they're gonna come in and I mean I really like the run that the Heat have
They
been
feel
on
like
in
the
this postseason.
16 Cavs
Oh
kind of,
yeah,
but like
well
not going to get behind like that.
3-1, yeah, no,
And
there's no
and
way.
the shooting, like KCP is knocking it down, and
Hmm.
you know, Michael Porter Jr. is knocking them all down, and Jokic is hitting some of the most ridiculous shots ever
Yeah.
over some intense defense too. Just those step back behind the head threes falling away
Hmm.
from deep behind the line at the end of buzzers. It's nuts what he's doing, and they just seem like they're destined to go there and win it all. And I very much think they will. And
One
as
it,
the
it starts
Nuggets,
with 1 week from tonight, Drew.
yeah, they get a long rest.
Hmm.
And as they went through and made their way to the conference finals, they swept those Lakers. BJ and LeBron teased retirement. Are you buying it?
No, I don't buy it one bit, Drew. Everything that he's said, he wants to play a year with Bronny. That's still at least a year or two away. I can't imagine at this point the case is going to be that he's going to retire. I also think, Drew, that LeBron has done a fantastic job of trying to take the headlines away from the Nuggets and away from him and the Lakers being swept in this conference finals because of this. I think this is all tactical decision making by LeBron. I mean, I can't fault him for it because here we are talking about it. But at the same time, I really don't buy it. I don't think there's any seriousness to it. I can't imagine that he's going to retire at this point. I think what, if anything, he might do if he's really kind of, there's still possibility that he needs surgery. Is that right, Drew?
uh, I,
On his on
I
his
don't know. I
ankle,
haven't
maybe.
seen it. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, that injury that he came back from, that he was supposed to miss the rest of the season for, and then came back, so early or whatnot. If he really does need surgery on that, what I could see him doing is waiting a bit, waiting until closer to the season starting, and further into the summer, more so than he would now, and having a longer period of rest and recovery, not playing as much next season. So it's not a retirement, but cutting back on his minutes, cutting back on the amount of games he plays, so that maybe when he gets, if Bronny only does play that 1 year at USC, then maybe LeBron will be fully healthy and healed up and ready to go for that year. Wherever Bronny goes, he can follow him there as well and begin his farewell tour. If that's still a serious consideration that he has, then I think that could be part of his plans.
That's an ideal scenario, and I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot more records to break
No,
that he can't break within one season. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's not he's not really rushing to get back and get in there. So if I was him,
yeah.
I'd take the rest off a little bit, and let's just say Anthony Davis comes in fully healthy and leads as a number one, and the Lakers are still in a good position by the time he comes back by like Christmas or something, and and they play well through it, and they're able to make some type of mini run before his son gets there, and then
Well,
he gets to decide where he wants to go, maybe off the heels of a little championship before his
maybe.
boy
But
gets there.
I mean, just think about what.
He's more tactical as he gets older, BJ, so he could sit out with this little surgery, drag it out to the all-star break, come back in top form, just put up 25, 7 and 7, those career averages that we just love, so we see all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and help them get back to a similar position and maybe beyond.
Well,
To
just think about what they did this year, Drew. They started 2-10. Everybody wrote them off, including you and I. We kind of were like, well, "This is not ideal. They're not going to be able to really do much." They got better at the trade deadline, and if they can keep some of those pieces around, they played better when he wasn't in the lineup, Drew. In that second half after the trade deadline, after the trades that they brought in, they played better defense, and obviously having him in the playoffs in the first two rounds was huge because of some of the plays he was making and able to get out of that game against Minnesota in the playing game as well. But to be honest with you, they were playing well. I think they could find that kind of rhythm again, even without him. If Anthony Davis can just, put the bubble wrap around his jersey or whatnot, stay healthy for the first half, Austin Reeves and D'Angelo Russell and everybody, coming back and making that similar kind of run based on how the second half of the season after the trade deadline went, they'd be in fine shape for if he returned late. And thinking like a GM, thinking about what he needs to do, to help the team out while he is out, is why he's going to whatever he does once once his playing career comes to an end here in a few years. I think he's going to be successful at it because, as you just said, Drew, he has been tactical as he's gotten older, and that's why he wants to get into this GM situation. Why he wants to be, either GM of a team in Vegas or part owner or whatnot, because he wants to prove that he can make these moves when he's not on the team and playing. He wants to be able to build the roster his way and see if they can go out there and win a title as well.
Well, we'll see what happens,
We
BJ.
sure will.
It's going to be a long off season and got a while until we see some NBA Finals action. But it's going to be
Only a
fun.
week.
It's going to be fun.
got-
But
we
it
got-
feels like a long time. It feels
Ah,
like ages
you,
with
you,
you.
you,
Don't,
you should
but
get
we
on
still
my.
got basketball to watch. We got WNBA to
That's
watch.
true.
Y'all can
That's
check
true.
that
I
out.
was going to say you should get on my schedule. It won't feel like that long. It won't feel nearly that long.
But, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for BJ's Best.
Well, thank you, Drew. Well, Drew, I thought for BJ's best today, I would turn the tables on you. And Drew, I think we're going to play two games today. Instead of with it or quit it, we're going to play two games today. And you're muted, by the way, if you are.
Oh, I know I was.
Okay. So you're going to play a game now. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me set the mood here. Let me get this.
Oh, set the mood, he says.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's get this going. All right. So obviously, because of the nature of this game, I can't play the music, but I did want to kind of have something, to be a little bit different with this segment.
Okay.
So, Drew, when you were a kid, you watched a lot of cartoons, right?
I did.
Okay. Well, so I thought it would be fun to go back to some childhood shows,
Oh,
and
buddy.
I'm going to do the dramatic reading of the lyrics, and you have to tell me
Oh, man.
what the show is. I'm going to give you the lyrics to the theme song. You have to tell me what
Oh.
the show was.
Oh,
All right?
man. All right. We'll see if I can do this.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start you off with an easy one.
Don't
all right?
judge me if I didn't watch it, so I'm just going to be like.
I'm gonna start you off with an easy one. Number one. Okay.
Okay.
Are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
There you go. See, I told you I was gonna start you off with an easy one. So you're already on the board. Number one is correct. It was indeed SpongeBob SquarePants. Now, Drew. Number two.
1 for 1.
Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur. Do you need more lyrics?
I might have to have you start saying it like the theme song actually is. That first one I understand, but
All right. Well, I'll take the music out.
you can keep the music, but just
Okay.
just say it like
Okay.
the song is.
All right. Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur. Might
haven't-
solve a mystery or rewrite history.
I haven't
What's-
seen this show.
You don't know the show?
No, I haven't seen this show. I don't think.
Well, the show is DuckTales. Woo! I'm sure you've heard
Oh,
of it.
I probably no. I have seen DuckTales, but it's been I don't remember that intro like that. That's been a very long time then.
Yeah, it was more of
didn't watch-
it was more
That's
of a
not one of
song.
those that I watched like periodically. That had like a time period.
Okay.
I did not remember that. It's fine.
Yeah,
But
so-
hey, 1 for 2. Gross.
1 for 2. It's okay. It's okay. You're still on the board. That's all right.
Yeah, that's right. I'm bored.
Number 3. You ready for this one?
Chat, you can play along as well.
Absolutely. Yes. Encourage it. Number 3. Enter at your own peril. Past the bolted door where impossible things may happen that the world has never seen before. In the show's name lives the smartest boy you've ever seen. But Sister blows his experiments to smithereens.
Dexter's Laboratory.
Yes, you got it. Dexter's Lab. Let's go. In Dexter's laboratory lives the smartest boy you've ever seen, but Dee Dee blows his experiments to smithereens. There is gloom and doom while things go boom in Dexter's lab. 2 for 3, Drew. Great start.
Oh, back in it. Another point. We'll take it.
Yes. Dexter's lab is correct, Icy. And that was funny. All right. Number 4. We're tiny. We're toony. We're all a little loony. And in this cartoony, we're invading your TV.
Keep going.
Okay. We're comic dispensers. We crack up all the censors on show's name. Get a dose of comedy.
Start over.
Okay. We're tiny.
Well, I mean, is it actually Looney Tunes? I didn't feel like it was that easy. I didn't think that was.
It is not Looney Tunes.
Yeah, Looney Tunes is like the name of, or it's like the brand.
Yeah, it says we're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony, and in this cartoony, we're invading your TV. We're comic dispensers. We crack up all the censors on the name of the show. Get a dose of comedy. The scripts were rejected. Expect the unexpected. On blank, it's about to start.
Dang, I don't know.
You don't know?
This is tough. I give up on this one.
All right, this one.
I feel like I know it, but I just can't. I can't think of it.
It's really close to Looney Tunes, but it's Tiny Toons Adventures.
Oh, I don't know that then.
It was the '90s version of Looney Tunes almost.
Okay.
It's Tiny Toons Adventures.
Like I didn't think Looney Tunes was an individual show.
Well, they did cartoons way back in the day, but then as a brand, like a product, when Warner Brothers came out, they did a spin-off like with some new characters in the '90s. It was Tiny Toons. They basically had, like
I don't remember
kid versions of the Looney Tunes characters. Although they actually did a show called Baby Looney Tunes, and they did Tiny Toons. Tiny Toons.
Oh, I did do Baby Looney Tunes. I remember that.
I think we talked about Baby.
I
Looney Tunes
don't know
in
their
class.
theme song though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
These are some difficult.
All right. Well, these are all '90s, Drew. These are all from our childhood.
We were 5 at most.
Well, no, I mean they showed them when they were still growing up. After that. All right. I've got another one for you here. I didn't write down the lyrics to this one, but you're 2 for 4. All right.
Yep. Terrible.
This character is an average kid that no one understands. His mom, his dad, his babysitter always giving him commands. Doom and gloom up in his room, but his magic little fishies grant his every wish. Because in reality, you know it, Drew?
Fairly Odd Parents?
It is the Fairly Odd Parents. You got it correct. 3 out of 5.
I watched that one, baby.
Yes, you sure did.
Wanda and Cosmo game. Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Great show.
Number 6, I think. 3 out of 5. Yeah, so this is number 6. Every day when you're walking down the street and everybody that you meet has an original point of view, and I say, hey, what a wonderful kind of day if you can learn to work and play and get along with each other.
Man, I wish you would sing this like how it actually goes, because I only know it by that.
And I say,
I know this.
What a wonderful kind of day. You can learn to work and play and get along with each other. That help any bit?
It did a little bit, but keep going.
All right, hold on. Let me go back to the lyrics. You got to listen to your heart, listen to the beat, listen to the rhythm of the street. Open up your eyes, open up your ears. Get together and make things better by working together. It's a simple message, and it comes from the heart. Believe in yourself, because that's the place to start. I can't sing, so that's not helping. I'm sure.
I don't know. This is hard.
No, it's not Recess. That's a great guess.
No, I know the Recess one. If we were there.
Yeah, Recess. I don't think had any lyrics, believe it or not. Because I was looking specifically for lyrics that I could read. because I didn't want to like play
Yeah.
music because some of them were just music themes or whatever.
No, I don't
Because
know this.
okay, I'll give you the answer here then, Drew.
Probably didn't watch it.
This is Arthur.
Not really. I didn't really
You
watch
didn't watch
it.
Arthur PBS?
Not really. I did
Oh,
not.
okay.
I didn't know the show. I definitely didn't know that show theme music.
Oh, okay.
Man, we're not. You gotta put some cool shows out here.
I thought Arthur was
You
cool
know,
back
the only
in the
ones
day.
I've got right were the the better ones.
I was to
Some of
say
the more
now.
popular shows.
So you got, let's see, you got two that were Nick.
Like, where's Invader Zim at? Like, what are we? What's going
I didn't
on?
think
Here?
did Invader Zim have lyrics?
I don't know.
I couldn't remember. That's
I don't
part of why
remember.
I might not have selected it because it didn't.
How many more you got?
I've got a couple more, Drew.
All right, let's see if I can get one out of two.
All right. Okay. Actually, I've got three.
Oh no, I was all right.
All right. Sugar, spice, and
Powerpuff Girls.
everything nice. Yes. Didn't even need more than 5 words there.
Yeah.
Good job.
I watched that show too. Was Mojo Jojo the villain?
Mojo Jojo.
Oh, Jojo,
Those were
Jojo.
the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little girls. All right. How about next to last one, real quick. Hold on.
I mean, you can do the other. You can do both. I got
Okay.
through that one fast.
All right. Okay. So I've got the next to last one, and I'm getting the last one real quick right here. I didn't have that
Okay.
one pulled up. Okay. So here's the next to last one, Drew. You ready?
Yeah.
Cruising on down Main Street, you're relaxed and feeling good. Next thing that you know, you're seeing octopus in the neighborhood, surfing on a sound wave, swinging through the stars. Take a left at your intestine, take your second right past Mars on the magic school bus. That probably gives it away.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was getting it though. I was like, this sounds familiar.
Yeah,
You could have said on the show name.
on the show name. I got too into it myself. I
Probably would have got it though. I knew Magic School Bus.
That's
though.
good. Awesome. I'll give you credit for it. You ready for the last one?
Yes.
Okay. From here to the stars, goes by candy bars, rides a kid with a knack for invention. With a superpowered mind, a mechanical canine rescues the day from sure destruction. He's got to save the world and get to school on time. So many things to do and not much time. So wound the ground up in the air, out into the atmosphere. Who can we count on? The main character.
Is it Jimmy Neutron? I don't
It
think
is
so.
Jimmy Neutron.
Okay, so I was
Yeah.
on that at first, but I thought different when you were talking about canine. I was like, does he have a dog? I was like, I
He
don't
did.
remember
Yeah, it was a
dog.
mechanical canine. He built it
Okay, I
himself.
didn't. Okay. Because I was like, I couldn't picture the dog in my head, so I
Yeah.
wasn't sure.
The-
and then
ki-
I
the-
see.
the-
I'm gonna give credit to the chat for that one. So
It was Goddard. Goddard
'Cause I
was
w-
the name of the
because
dog.
I wasn't sure, but they reassured me. So
Yeah, it was
I
was
did.
Goddard. Was the
but I
name
did
of
have
the
it.
the dog that he built, the mechanical canine.
God knows my heart. I was thinking it.
And that was a great show with
Okay.
you had Sheen and you had his friend Carl that was all obsessed with his
Yep.
mom, like
Redheaded
Jimmy's
Carl.
mom and croissant.
They made a movie, didn't they?
Yeah, so it was started off
I
as
watched that.
I think the movie was first and then the show. I
I
think they
don't
had
know.
to
I don't.
thought the
don't-
movie came out first and then they did the show. Like the movie was almost like the pilot, the backdoor pilot or something like that.
Don't remember.
I remember the movie coming out before the show. Maybe I'm mistaken, but
I feel like it came later because that's why I wanted to watch it. Because if I didn't know, I probably wouldn't have watched it off the rip.
maybe.
don't
Well, I
know.
know
don't
that
know.
it was either the movie first and then the show started, and then but maybe the movie came out first, but you saw the show first, and then you wanted to see the movie because of the show.
Maybe.
I
I
don't
don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Don't know.
We were kids. Who would have known?
Thanks.
So I went. I would have gone with such songs like Recess or Rugrats, but there weren't any lyrics to the songs. They were just music. So like the Rugrats was da 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 da.
What about Rocket Power? I was waiting to see if that one would have came through.
I didn't see Rocket Power on the list.
Or Codename Kids Next Door.
That was
Oh,
2000s. That was a good one. That was 2000s though. I went with 90s, or I tried to keep
man.
it. pretty much 90s
Maybe,
shows.
maybe one day along down the road you'll hop into some 2000s. I'll play this game
Maybe,
again.
yeah, we could play this game again sometime in the future. We'll go 2000s.
Oh yeah.
But that was fun, Drew. You did pretty
Yes, it
well.
was. Yes, it
You did better than you
was.
thought you were going to
Shaky,
do.
shaky, shaky, shaky.
Hey, it's okay. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So, all right. But that is BJ's best. I hope you had fun.
Heck yeah, BJ's best. I like that. That's a good addition of BJ's best there, sir. Appreciate it. And what you guys can appreciate out there, if you're listening to the show, you can appreciate a sale, a Memorial Day sale coming up for Team Public, and that begins today through Memorial Day. Make sure you go online at the link in the description and get your low down merch. It's time to update that wardrobe for the summer. Get you some tank tops because it's getting hot out there. You can get t-shirts as well, but get you a tank top as well. Keep yourself cool out there. Get you a tan. Get you a tan too if you want a tan. That is. Um, Make sure you get on over there at the link in the description and get you a tank top or t-shirt or any other merch that you want today. While that sale is going on, it's a site-wide sale up to 35% off our Memorial Day weekend sale.
Awesome stuff. Well,
Boom!
Drew, I'm not gonna go over and get a tee or a tank top, I should say, because I burn. I burn. So I still need these t-shirts.
Just put a little sunscreen on.
Well, I don't want to have to put on sunscreen. I just rather just
Don't
wear a
be
t-shirt.
lazy.
I'm not being lazy.
There's spray sunscreen. It'll get you.
No, I know. I'm
Yeah.
familiar with it, but
Not too
anyway.
familiar, it
But
seems.
uh, what's that? What is that supposed to mean?
Because you don't want to use sunscreen. That's why.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't. I just said that I'd rather not have to. But so I mean, I like the t-shirts anyway because they're comfortable and I can wear them all times of the year as opposed to just the summer. But I do understand, offering the tank top as well. But we you can get some tees over at T Public. You can get a tank top, but now that we know half of the matchup in both the NBA and the NHL finals, the Stanley Cup and the NBA playoffs, there are just three teams remaining in each. But man, I'm telling you, both of the teams that are leading and haven't clinched their spot in the finals matchup are one win away, and it could be as quickly as tonight for both. Um, anyway, so there's only one place to go to get that conference championship merchandise. It's over our friends at Fanatics. Florida Panthers fans, Miami Heat fans, maybe tonight, maybe Saturday, maybe over the weekend. Or if you are a fan of, let's say, the Denver Nuggets, or maybe you are cheering on the blasted Vegas Golden Knights. I don't know why you do that. Anyway, you can find your conference championship merchandise over at Fanatics. Now's the time. Memorial Day is this weekend. They've got the Americana collection on sale for Memorial Day. The camo, it's always a nice look around this time of year. MLB rocks the camo. Plus, now coming up on Father's Day, a few weeks from this time around, they just dropped their Father's Day collection of hats that MLB will be showcasing all across the league. So that's available for purchase. You can get any of that and a whole lot more. It's the place to go for officially licensed merchandise. Right now, Drew, you see it on your screen. 60% off site-wide by using that promo code up in the top left. That is GLIDE. Promo code GLIDE for 60% off at checkout. Terms and conditions apply. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything. All right, Drew. It is now time to find out what's on your mind here this afternoon.
Well, BJ, as things come to a close for the youngsters out here, it's time to talk about the last day of school. As it is their actual last day of school before class of 2023 graduates. It's their last day where you really, BJ, you don't do too much on that last
Yeah.
day
Well,
of school.
I mean, we I don't know what you have planned for this, but I remember, you and I were when we were still in school. I know we're gonna sound
Mm.
like get off my yard, but for me, the last day of school was there were still tests going on. They were still doing like final exams, so you still had to make sure that you were, in that right frame of mind, even if you were long ago checked out when you got that senioritis. You had to tune back in, otherwise you might not graduate, and you didn't want to be like the only one of your friends that wasn't able to actually get the diploma when, or when you walked across the stage with everybody. You had to finish it up in summer school before they would give it to you. So now, I mean, thankfully, I don't think you and I were that kind of position with our grades. I remember I wasn't exempt from one of my final exams, but I was pretty close to being. It was like I needed an 85 and I was at like an 83 or an 84 or something like
I've
that.
been exempt from a final or two back in my day.
Yeah, I remember those days, but
Not too
that
many.
that's how I remember. And nowadays, like you said, there isn't a whole lot going on. I remember they for us when we were seniors, like we did our exams like the week before everybody's last day, and our last couple days of the year were actually like they had like senior activities, like they did a picnic, they had like um,
Yep, they're senior activity.
graduation practice. You had the cap and gown
Yep.
pickup, or like they had the picture that like I
Yeah.
got memories that popped up on Facebook. I'm sure you did too, of some around this time from back however many years ago it was.
Yeah, for seniors it's totally different, but for
Mhm.
those juniors, those
Yeah,
sophomores, those freshmen,
and
they're just
underclass
kind of
even that. Yeah,
they're just kind of up there, not doing a whole lot, watching some TV in there with their teacher,
yeah,
doodling in their notebooks, on
yeah.
their phones nowadays.
Hmm.
Back in, I mean, maybe our day, playing a little Game Boy or PSP or something.
Oh yeah,
If
the
you can
PS
sneak,
Vita. Yeah,
if you have a nice enough teacher, let you bring that in on the last day when you're not doing anything, you don't want to watch the
yeah.
movie.
I was gonna say. I mean, I don't understand why
Or
you wouldn't want to watch the movie, but I mean,
or you're one of these kids right here, BJ.
okay.
One of these kids that is still in
Oh
school
no!
watching the kids
2.5
who
weeks.
are on their last day and still have, and look at the comment, first comment. Some people
June
still have
20.
an entire month because school
No
starts late
way.
for some people and they go into June. We're not really accustomed to that. We're usually through
No.
May and that's it for us.
Hmm.
But some schools that start late or have extra breaks, they got to keep going. And that's why I imagine this person's got 2 more weeks because of the extra breaks. There's tons and tons of breaks they have
Yeah,
in school
and
these
and
days. But
obviously
this is
it's
how they're feeling if they're one of those kids still in school watching the nearby schools who are out right now, out
yeah.
there playing and having fun.
It's funny because my mom is a teacher, and today is their last day. But at the same time, Drew, she herself is remarking on some of the other school districts around locally that are already done, and she's like, "This is ridiculous. We should have been done last week, or or whatever." And it's
Uh,
like, yeah, but you could be having to go another month. I didn't even think that there was, but she was in a position when she was a kid that they did like block schedules, and so like you would go for a certain part of the year, and it wasn't like the same schedule. So that might explain why you did get more off time in between the block schedule.
mhm.
But I don't know if I like that. I would rather just have like the whole 3 months, or whatever the song that Phineas and Ferb sang, 104 days. I'd rather have that as opposed to like 2 months and a couple like month long breaks in between like the three different chunks. I don't know.
But BJ, another thing I wanted to get to in talking about this last day of school, you mentioned what the seniors get to do. Thank you for tossing that in there. I don't even have to mention that now.
Okay,
And
absolutely,
we
yeah.
and we already talked about what the underclassmen get to do, and let's just talk about what everybody who is actually at the school on this last day of school. Because some seniors they're at home or they left after one period or whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, if you're not watching a movie in the classrooms and your teachers are not too creative, you got to get creative with your classmates. And it's time to start playing some games, BJ. What
Okay.
type of last day of school games do you remember from back in the day? Some that pop up in my head. An
Oh.
immediate one, BJ. You'll know this one. Just look at
Oh
little
yeah,
heads
heads up
down, thumbs
seven.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah, little heads up,
I,
7 up, heads
I was gonna
down,
say
thumbs
I
up.
don't think we played that since I was a kid. Honestly, I don't remember that being a high school thing. I think when I
Hey,
was in
that
high
was a
school,
classic. We were like, "Hey, it's been a while, but let's do it."
some kids would bring like a deck of
Got
cards,
carried
and
on.
we just it
Yeah,
wouldn't be
you
like
play
they were
Uno,
gambling. Yeah, well, you play Uno, you'd play like actual card games like Hold'em and
Go Fish.
like Spades, Go Fish. Yeah.
Yep.
So obviously it wouldn't be like gambling because there was no money, but You
Some
know, they
teachers had board games.
yeah,
If they were like old teachers that used to be at a middle school or something, just brought them on over to have something rinky dink.
checkers,
Yeah.
chessboards. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I
Something
remember
like
those.
that.
Uh,
But more often than not, you ended up probably watching some sort of movie, and anybody else in the class is doing whatever they want.
or
More than
or
likely doing
yeah,
this
or taking a nap. I mean, you know,
or a
it
nap.
was kind of just ridiculous. Like,
Those uncomfortable seats.
why are we here? You know, like we're not doing anything. Why are we here other than because you have to have so many days to receive
Yeah.
the credit and funding from the state? It's like it's it makes no sense because what are you going to do, Drew? If you don't want to watch the movie, you can't go to the library because library's got to have everything back, and you know they get in their inventory ready for the start of the year in the fall. Um,
But hey, BJ, maybe, just maybe, and I don't know how, I can't remember exactly how this goes, but there could be some people doing some very, 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 very last minute extra credit to get that 69 to a 70
yeah,
before
yeah.
teachers submit grades at whatever time as well. Because those scenarios are possible.
Oh yeah.
That might have happened the week before or a couple of days before. Maybe not the second to last, the day before
Yeah,
people
I don't
graduate.
think it was
But
I don't think it was the last day, but they were
that's
definitely you were
that's
definitely
said and
getting
done.
that like anybody that was on the verge was having to worry and stress if they
Oh
cared
yeah,
enough to
yeah. They're
in the
sitting there
the
like,
last week or two
man, I don't know
before.
if I'm gonna be with y'all next year in 12th grade, man. I think I
I
might be a junior again.
don't think it was that bad. They might have had to go to summer school though, so that's good.
Retake algebra 2 to next year with the same
Oh
kids.
man,
Oh,
no, thank goodness never had to do that. And that's part of what I was just about to ask you. Did you ever have to take a summer school class before college?
summer school class.
Yeah,
Before college at any point.
yeah. So like in high school,
So,
essentially, is what I'm meaning.
well, no. So, like, when it came to going from middle school to high school, and they told you have to do summer classes to do like AP classes or whatever, like do summer work.
I had summer reading. I didn't have a summer class.
Oh, you mean like for college, summer college classes or
No, no, no,
something?
no. So this is what. So
We
when
didn't
I
have
was, yeah, when I was, I
undergrad.
only did it once. I had a summer class that was because I was interested in the field, and
Oh no.
so it wasn't like it was because it was required because I was like academic delinquency or anything like that. It was one of those that hey, I want to have this opportunity going into my
Oh
freshman
no.
year, and it was an like extracurricular or not extracurricular, but I thought that it was like I would get some credit on my high school transcript for it. I can't
Oh
remember if I did or
no.
not though, but that's the only time that I had a summer school class of any kind
Uh, the
until
only
college.
the only summer thing I did was when I was in fifth grade. I didn't do too well on the first two writing tax tests.
Oh
I think
yeah.
it was writing. It
Mhm.
was either writing or reading. I think it
Yeah.
might have been reading actually. So I was there for like the final stand, like one more test. So we had to go back there for like I don't know a
Couple
couple of
hours.
weeks or
Yeah.
something.
Oh.
I don't remember, but just to make sure we're good enough to get this test passed for the third for this third try here. So
Hmm.
that's the only time I was actually out there doing that. So that's my experience with summer anything.
I
Other than that,
feel
no, I stayed away from summer stuff.
no. I
Only summer
completely understand.
activity beyond that really before like summer sports was getting prepared during marching
Do you
season.
have to do the summer reading? Did you have to do summer reading?
No, that was only if you were doing AP classes and stuff. And
See, I
once I heard that you had to read over the summer, I was like, no, I'm not. Forget these AP classes. I'm good.
yeah.
I'm fine.
See, I did have. I think it was in my last year of middle school, like eighth grade. I did have a summer reading. We'll get to that here in a second. I think we were just going to finish our conversation real quick, but I think I did have one that I did read, and I was kind of the same way. After that, I was like, yeah, I don't want to be doing that again over the summer. But I think it wasn't like too big of a deal. It was. I think it was either like Sherlock Holmes book, or it was either and then there were none, or it's like a Sherlock Holmes book, and I always enjoyed mystery, so it wasn't like too big of a deal to read over the summer.
Yeah, it wasn't something I was trying to do whatsoever. But yeah, PJ, that is what's on Drew's mind. The last day of school, and we did have a quick question in the chat,
Yeah,
which I kind of answered earlier. That I think no matter who goes there versus Denver, Denver wins it.
yeah, I agree. I think so too. I think that the Nuggets have just been so good this year that it's going to be tough for Miami or Boston. If just think about this, Drew, if Boston were to somehow come from behind and do the impossible, make NBA history, just like the Red Sox did about 20 years ago now in the MLB, does that give them momentum, or does that just wear them down going into that series against the Nuggets? I mean, it could, because of the rust, the long layoff for the Nuggets, it could give the Boston Celtics a little bit of an edge, but I just don't know. I really don't know.
And
I
Denver's
think that,
got home court right now, so
yeah,
Boston's going to be tired, and then they have to travel to the Mile High. There's
mm-hmm, yeah,
no way they win those.
yeah,
So they're doomed from the get go, I think. And Jimmy doesn't have enough to get past the Nuggets. If he had Tyler Hero, it would help offensively, the
yeah,
scoring wise. But he just unless
uh,
Bam like goes into some mode that we've never seen before and like turns into the
yeah,
player that he possibly could be,
yeah,
then I think that they're cooked. And I don't
yeah.
think that Bam can handle Jokic anyway in
No, I
these
don't think
finals.
so
So
either.
it's just
No,
it's just destined. It's gonna be written similar to how Giannis's was written: two MVPs, then a championship. Jokic, two MVPs, then a championship in Finals
is
MVP.
there any possibility that Hero will return for
Nope,
the
broken
finals?
hand.
No. Well, I saw that he was cleared to return to basketball activities, but I didn't know if that meant that he might
Hmm,
suit up like late in the series if they needed him.
I mean, maybe. I don't
But yeah,
know.
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough regardless.
I
But
wouldn't figure. Well, he had a broken hand,
yeah,
and you need him to shoot
yeah,
a lot.
yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, I wouldn't bring him back. It
No, I
just
completely
mess him up
understand.
some more. But
Yeah,
let's dig into the WBJ.
yeah.
What do you
Let's do it.
say?
How about a historic performance on Sunday, part of the opening weekend from Brianna Stewart? 45 points, a new Liberty record when New York beating the Fever 90 to 73. Just kind of some of the highlights of the week, Drew. What stood out besides Brianna Stewart's record-setting performance?
Dallas Wings home opening win. Three players with 20 plus points in the win over the Dream. Um, you mentioned it, Stewie's 45.
Mhm.
Aces blowout win over
Yeah,
the Storm.
that was
Uh,
just woof, man.
Brittney Griner tearing it up as she's coming back. She had like a double double. It was like 27, 10, and a few blocks, I think, in their first or in their
Yeah,
latest game.
yeah, 27-10 and four blocks
Four blocks.
in the loss to the Sky 75-69. That was Sunday.
Yes. So I mean, there's been a lot of good stuff early. Some teams still figuring themselves out. The Sky 2-0 early, won their first two games, even without Isabel Harrison, who unfortunately tore her meniscus and is going to be out. I
Hmm.
believe that was what her injury was. So I think it was her left. So I mean, either way, prayers up for Izzy being out for the year there, and she's going to come back and better. I just
Yeah,
think that her first year coming into Chicago, she gets that injury and doesn't get to be a big part of the team like she was going to be for sure out there. Had her definitely pegged as a potential All Star had she gotten to go through this season, but we'll see her in 24.
yeah,
Sky though still doing all right early on. It's super early, just a few games for everybody. Some people have only played one game. Some people played a night for the second game. Some people have played three games.
yeah. Like
So
Connecticut, they're 3-0.
Connecticut 3-0. Some hashtag disrespect with a capital CT, which that hashtag began, I believe, back in 19, going into the and then going into
Maybe.
the bubble, and
Yeah,
the year that they made the finals that year. Um, so, and I think it's coming back now because they've lost a lot of pieces, or they lost a fair amount of
hmm,
pieces. They look a lot different, but
yeah,
people didn't have them pegged to be at the upper echelon of the league so far, and they're 3-0 and beating one of the teams that they had pegged to be one of the top teams in the Mystics. Yes, it is early, but a couple of wins by the
yeah.
the Sun over
Twice.
the Mystics is significant early for them, and that kind of puts them in the lead in the series for the season. Don't know how many more times they'll play each other, but if it's one, Connecticut's already won the series. If it's two, all the Mystics can do is tie it. So that's a good
Yeah.
bit of momentum there. And Dewana Bonner and Alyssa Thomas really ran the show. Alyssa Thomas having big numbers through all three games so far, really putting her name in the MVP race early on, alongside Stewie and others, and probably even BG at this rate. So it's gonna be a quite a race for the MVP. But BJ, talk about Griner's return to the court. She's had some celebrations in the locations she's played at so far. LA celebrated her. Dallas Wings plan to celebrate her when she returns to Texas in early June.
Hmm.
How do you like the outpouring of support, and what's it show?
Well, I mean, you saw all the support for her in the past year with across the league how everybody, united, and her number was featured prominently all across the league while she was in Russia detained. So I think that this is a continuation of that. Is that hey, we were there, and we were thinking of you and wishing that things were different and that you were here playing last season, and now that she is back, I think that it's just been a great atmosphere, and great to see, the sport welcome her back, and her, being, in a, it feels like, I mean, I don't know, Drew. I mean, obviously, I can't recall what how it was at the end of the 21 season just because of how long it's been, and everything that she went through, her ordeal. You would imagine that this would be the case, but it seems like how long ago that the scuffing and the turmoil that was the end of the 21 season for the Mercury is so far in the past because of everything that happened after that. She seems happier, and everything like that. She seems like she's in a great space mentally, which is just phenomenal after everything that she went through, that she would be in this case. I mean, we were thinking, Drew, that it might take some time for her to be back in that spot where where she would be, um, you know not thinking about that, and want to take her time before returning. But she seems just in great spirits, and has been doing phenomenal things on the court, and I've loved the atmosphere that they have welcomed her back with. They've got another home game here coming up tonight, and as they get ready, I believe they're playing the Fever, if I'm not mistaken. Drew, you can correct me if I'm wrong. No, it's the
They're
Lynx.
playing the Lynx.
Yeah, I got that one misconfused for a second there, but um, definitely one that I think is winnable game. She's been doing a lot of great things out on the court, averaging, it's been just 2 games, but averaging 22 and a half already is just phenomenal. And I'm hoping that they continue to you know show that she's loved and appreciated all across the league, which, I like you said, there are plans for that as we get further along, and as they go on the road more. Um, but I mean, I don't know what, I saw that her coach said that her first game back, that it should have been a sellout. What do you think about uh, that remark?
I mean, it would have been cool for it to be a sellout. I mean, you hope for a sellout for, I mean, as many WNBA games as possible.
Yeah,
But I mean, they've set some record. I think I saw some record-setting views wise for her
yeah,
appearance. I
on
don't
the
remember
on
what it was.
ESPN.
Yeah, her debut at Los Angeles last Friday was the most viewed regular season WNBA game on cable in 24 years. Was 683,000 viewers. So still a win regardless. I mean, it was probably as close
Mm,
to being sold out as it could be. But BJ, another thing that surprises me within this early start to this season is the Liberty. Well, not surprises me, but just kind of makes you take a look at it and kind of shows how their season may or may not be. BJ, because they lost that first game, I believe,
mm.
to was that Connecticut,
No, I think
and
it was it the Mystics on Friday.
uh, um,
Yeah, it was the Mystics,
the
80 to
Mystics.
64.
So they dropped that to the Mystics, and then they blew out their next opponent by 17 in a big win, where Stewie gets 45 and three quarters. Um, so I mean, it's just kind of showing how this Liberty team might struggle to, kind of form themselves early on with dropping that first game to some tough competition in the league, and not always be able to gel enough to get things right off the bat. But sometimes, like when the Seattle Storms of the world and the Fevers of the world come up, they'll route those teams by 20 plus and things like that. So uh, it might take a while for them to really get their wheels on the tracks and kind of get going, but they'll be a dominant team, I think, regardless. Especially once they get rhythm and all used to each other. Because I mean, stars. I mean, you can see some ugly play in an All Star game
Hmm.
sometimes, even when they're trying to play together. But that's because of chemistry. So
Yeah,
as soon as chemistry is built well out there in New York, they'll be a finely tuned machine because they got a whole lot of stars and some good bench depth to make sure that is the case. But
yeah,
standings early, BJ, we've got five undefeated teams. I mean, three 1-0s. We call those undefeated still.
yeah.
And the 2-0 Sky, 3-0 Sun that we mentioned, and then three winless: the Indiana Fever, Minnesota Lynx, and the Phoenix Mercury. Let's do a quick pick 'em for all the games that are going to be happening before we come back. BJ, how about it?
All right, let's do it.
All right, Minnesota Lynx versus Phoenix Mercury, two winless teams. Who gets their first dub tonight?
It's going to be the Mercury. I think Brittney Griner and company are going to defend a home court. I'm going with Phoenix.
I'm right there with you. Game starts at the same time at 9 o'clock tonight. Las Vegas Aces versus the LA Sparks, who, Azare Stevens, out right now with a back injury. Don't know when she's going to be returning for the Sparks. So Sparks a little depleted, along with having a new roster versus the champs. Who you got?
Yeah, this seems like a mismatch. I'm going to take the Aces, and I think it could be easily a double-digit point victory.
Tomorrow's games, Mystic at Sky at 7 p.m. Who you got winning that one?
I'm going to go with
Sky,
Chicago.
Chicago stays undefeated. Okay.
Yeah,
And Wings at Storm. Do the Wings stay undefeated? Or the Storm get their first?
yeah. I think I think Satu's going to have another great game. I think Dallas goes on the road and wins. I'm just it's going to be a long season for Seattle. I think we both are kind of expecting that as especially with how it's tough against the defending champs to in game one to get a real kind of feel for them. But I just it's going to take a while before they start to gel and click, and I just don't know how good their season really is going to end up being.
In agreement with the Wings, but I'll take the Mystics against the Sky.
Okay.
On Saturday, PJ, Connecticut Sun take on the New York Liberty. Will the Sun stay undefeated at noon? Sun time?
No, this is where I've got the Sun going down for the first time. Give me New York on their home court. I think they're going to gel a little bit more. I don't think it's going to be just because of Stewie. Watch for Jonquel Jones to have a pretty good game in their second win of the year. I'm going to take the Liberty.
And then at 8 o'clock that night, Sparks at Aces.
It'll be the Aces getting another win. I've got them moving to this would be what 3-0, right? Yeah, 3-0 because they play
Yeah.
tonight.
Yep. And then Sunday, I've got 2 more days of games before we record again. BJ, Fever at the Dream on Sunday at 2 o'clock.
This will be interesting because these are two young teams. I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with Atlanta in this contest, but I think Indiana keeps it a little bit closer than you might think. Aaliyah Boston's been playing really good here so far in the first couple games. They really need to get a little bit more as a team before they would be able to win these kinds of games, but I think they're getting closer.
Oh, BJ, give me the Atlanta Dream. Alicia Gray out there in
I,
rhythm, and she had a staggering quote that I took a look at yesterday, and I'm gonna see if
I'm taking Atlanta as well. I don't know if I made that clear. I just
oh,
think
sorry, I
that
guess
the
so.
Fever are getting closer.
Okay, you made it sound like you were
No, I think Fever
pushing.
keep it close, but I'm going to take the Dream.
Okay, cool. Well, Alicia Gray said, "quote It feels nice to be on a team that believes in me and my scoring ability and just let me be free." Question by Emmanuel Glaze.
Mm,
But whew, big words there from
yeah.
Leash. But yeah,
I mean,
we're
she's not wrong.
on the dream for that 2 o'clock game over the Fever. Wings at Sky at 5 o'clock though. BJ, who you got?
Yeah, I think this is where the Wings will fall for the first time. I've got them
Mm.
falling to 2-1. I hope I'm wrong, but Sky have been playing really well. This will be an interesting test. It's kind of a litmus test to see where the Wings are this year.
Okay, give me the Dallas Wings right here. I think while they still got Big T, they're going to try and win as much as humanly possible because they'll be missing her for a little bit. And I think they
Yeah.
can take another road win. They started out 4-0 on the road last year. Hopefully, they can start in the same fashion this year. Lynx at Aces to finish off the night at 8 o'clock Sunday night, BJ.
Aces keep it rolling. Aces keep it rolling on to Tuesday.
And Tuesday, 4-game slate here, starting with Fever at Sun.
Yeah, the Sun are going to bounce back with a win over the Fever. I think that this won't be as close as the game on
Mm.
Sunday in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah. Give me the Sun in this one over Indiana as well. Next up, at the same time, as a matter of fact, Sky at Dream.
Yeah, I think Atlanta pulls the upset in this one. I'm going to take the Dream over the Sky.
Okay.
Their first loss here.
I like Chicago on the road in Atlanta. Need some revenge after losing to those Dallas Wings at home. And speaking of those Dallas Wings, they host the Minnesota Lynx on Tuesday night the 7th, right after those other two games start. BJ, who you got?
Collier has a good game for Minnesota, but give me the Wings on the home court to bounce back after the loss against Chicago on Sunday. I'm taking the Wings.
There you go, BJ. I'm right there with you. Next and last game on Tuesday night, Liberty at Storm. Stewie returns to Seattle.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because it will be probably some emotions, but I still think at the end of the day, once the peasant the pageantry, the festivities. I was trying to combine those two words, I guess. Once those are out of the way and the game actually begins, Stewie goes into like locked in mode, and the Liberty don't really have to worry about this one. I'm going to take New York on the road.
Right there with you. Liberty rout the Storm in Stewie's return to Seattle. And I think, is that the ninth? Ooh, is that, that might be, no, I don't think it will be. Sometime soon, Bird is getting her jersey retired at,
yeah, I thought that was in June.
Seattle.
I'll
that's why I backpedal because I'm pretty sure it's in June. It's not when Stewie returns. So
June 11th. Yeah, it'll be June 11th.
So yeah, in a couple of weeks. So a bit. We'll make sure
when the Mystics are in town.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, Liberty rout the Storm in Stewie's return home. And those are your pick'ems ahead of next week's episode, and that's WNBA, BJ. But it's not the episode because it's time to play a game.
All right. Well, you got to play a game. I get to play a game. We all get to play a game in this episode, right?
I feel like With It or Quit It needs music now because you had music in your game. I don't know what music we would use out of this assortment here. Let's try. What does this sound like? Whatever. It's not bad. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
This may be one that we have to find some music later on in post that we like, as opposed to we'll have to get our team on the music production side, get us some cool music to make for With It or Quit It.
Well, man, buddy BJ, this is With It or Quit It, and I've got 5 questions for you, and you just let me know if you are with these bad boys, if you're gonna quit it.
All right, I can do it.
Cool, simple as that.
Bada boom, bada bang.
And it's going in a similar fashion like last week was, with some of those singular.
Okay.
All right, you remember, guys.
I remember.
You know where
yes,
I'm going.
I do remember.
All right, let's get into this. Number 1, you, BJ Laudermilk, on a road trip, prefer chips as opposed to candy as a snack. With it or quit it?
Well, as the resident fat man on the show, if I'm going on a road trip, I might get both actually. And then like I have one, I think I'd eat the chips first if that helps answer the question. So I'd say with it, but I probably would have both and just kind of snack depending upon the length of the road trip. If you could only
get one, they didn't have your favorite candy that you'd like to get, and you don't get anything else.
Yeah, if I.
And vice versa with the chips.
I don't know. I think that if they didn't have my favorite chips, I'd just get the candy. And if they didn't have my favorite candy...
when you walk in, you're going straight to the...
candy, probably.
Okay. All right. There you go.
So I guess I'm quit it then.
Yeah, you're going to quit it then. He's
All
gonna
right.
quit it.
But like I said, I normally eat the chips first if I have both on the trip.
But
So.
you go straight to the candy first. That's your priority. You want to make sure you
Well,
get some candy.
yeah, I look around at least. I don't know if I get any, but no. Anyway, we're
Quit
thinking too much into
backpedaling.
it. We're thinking too much into it.
Number 2. BJ, do you like a good salad? This isn't the question, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, a great salad. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, question number
It goes
2.
against my answer for the first one as the resident fat man, but I do like salad.
Well, question number 2. French dressing. With it or quit it?
No, I'm not with it.
Oh.
I can't remember if I've had it or not enough to really like. If it's
Okay.
not, I like ranch, but if I don't eat ranch, I'll do Italian dressing.
French dressing is pretty fire. Don't sleep on it. I used to get it all the time at this pizza inn that I used to work at. Actually, even before I worked there, it was always a go-to alternate. When if ranch was out, I'm like, I ain't tripping. We got French dressing right here.
Yeah.
But they don't sell it as often. You don't see it as often in the stores. I don't think, or you didn't at the time. But it was one of those where like, oh, my French is here. I'm gonna get it. But it's an underrated dressing and it's very good. Kind of addicting, to be honest, once you get on it. So if you come across some French dressing, get you a little dabble of that.
Yeah, I have to try it. Maybe I can find one at the next time I go to the pizza buffet. They might have some.
Yeah, or get you a Golden Corral. They're bound to have French dressing along.
You're right. I'm sure they do
at their salad bar. Number 3, the WNBA, BJ, the Women's National Basketball Association. They will have 2 or more first-time All-Stars this year. With it or quit it?
Oh, I don't know, Drew. This is a good question. You know what? I'll say with it because I could see 2. I think it's going to be tough to get more than 2. But I could see 2. I think if you're talking about like, if you're talking about a young player that hasn't made it before, or even a player that's been in the league that was, like an Alicia Gray that's in a different situation that kind of, I kind of figured that's where you were going with that. So
maybe.
I could see 2, but with all the star power that's still in the league with, Breanna Stewart's going to be there. That, you're going to get Asia Wilson and a lot of the players, Candace Parker from the Aces are going to be there. You got John Quell and so many of these other talented players are going to be there, or at least it feels like they will be. It's tough to feel like there's enough spots available to enough like that there would be more than 2 first-time All-Stars. I'll go with it because I'll say 2 for sure. Like I'll say 2, make it, but not to more. If it's more than 2, then no.
It's 2 or more, so counts.
2 counts.
That counts, yes indeed. And he is with it. Number 4. Breakfast for dinner. With it or quit it?
Absolutely with it, yeah.
Hey.
There's been too many times where I've been like it's a late night kind of deal when I haven't eaten anything and it's just like, you know what? I'll just go to like Waffle House or IHOP or something like that, and I have a cup of decaf because it's late and I want some coffee, but I still want to be able to go to bed in a reasonable time frame. And I'll have, an order of, hash browns or whatever with the breakfast platter, whatever it is.
You're trying to make our listeners hungry?
I'm hungry now, man. Yeah. You're asking me about breakfast for dinner.
I need some biscuits and I want some bacon.
Biscuits and gravy. Oh, bacon, man.
Come on.
Yeah. Man, we gotta make an Omegas trip. They're not a sponsor, but they should be. Oh my gosh! You want to talk about some good old biscuits and gravy?
Good food.
Ooh, yeah, great food, man.
Number 5.
I
think you'll like this one, BJ. It's gonna make you think, I believe.
All right.
You, BJ Laudermilk, your most memorable calls in sports broadcasting.
Okay.
Were in football games. With it or quit it?
Yeah, I think that would be the case. Yeah, I mean, I'm not in a position that I want to, do like a brag about myself. But are you familiar with the segment Homer Call of the Week that the Ticket used to do for a while there?
Uh, yes and no. I haven't heard it, but I've heard
Hmm.
of it
Yeah.
because my now old color analyst told me about it.
Yeah. Well, I actually, it wasn't because of me, but my crew, a call of mine, our broadcast was on Homer Call of the Week back in the 2020 COVID year,
There
believe it
you
or not.
go.
I think out of, I can tell you a baseball call of mine that, I could think of a time that I might have sounded a little bit too Homerish without even meaning to as a baseball announcer, but I just think back to like more memorable calls, like even in Drew. I tell you, you can tell me firsthand experience because you were listening to a game that I did. We were in the same district in 2021, and we played on a Thursday night. Y'all were going to play on a Friday. You listened to our game with my broadcast, and I even was able to give you kind of you didn't know the overtime rules had changed, and the
Yeah.
game went into overtime, and so you as a listener were able to find out, and I was able to do a good enough job of informing anyone that this is what's going to happen because this is what's changed. And so I think that, like, you and I talking and just about our broadcasting experience, I think you probably would be more remembering something like that from what I did in football than I don't know if you've ever gotten a chance to listen to me do a baseball broadcast before,
I have
but
not gotten to listen to baseball.
I feel like I'm my more memorable calls, like even in a losing effort, I feel like I still have I go with the ebbs and flows of the game a little bit better with football. There's a little bit more relaxed feel to baseball, but there is still that, that tense moment where you're like, on pins and needles waiting to see what's going to happen. I feel like I do a pretty good job of trying to bring those moments to life when they do come about. But I will say with it, I will say football is probably, if you were to have a sampling, you'd probably more remember the football calls than you would my baseball calls. I may be wrong, but that's just how I think I feel about it.
Yeah. BJ, that's with it or quit it.
Drew, that's the end of the show then.
And it is indeed. And I don't know if I would say the same for mine or not because,
You think
and I,
basketball, right?
and well, I've only done two basketball games, unfortunately, so I can't really
Okay.
say as much. I've done
Hmm.
far more hockey, far more baseball, and far more football than
Yeah.
basketball, unfortunately.
Well, you
But
got a
like I
more
don't know if
broad
that's
repertoire.
so. Like my baseball one is my best call with the inside the park, but
Hmm.
probably say my more memorable stuff is football, just because I got more attachment to Silver Springs, and those calls are different when I'm up there into it, especially when you go from a losing season to getting 7 wins. You fired up in that booth.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
Fired
I
up.
mean, it's just for me, like this past year was bittersweet because this was the seniors last year were the freshmen my first year broadcasting, and so it's been just weird. They just graduated here this week. Going back to your what's on Drew's mind, and so just to see that they're about to move on and move into the next part of their chapters, it's just like they won 9 games last year. They were second round of the playoffs, and I didn't want the ride to end because that is going to have a special connection. Those
Shame on
players.
me for forgetting to put that in my last day of school segment, because I forgot you had told me that this was your first group that's
Yeah,
graduating. I won't have a group for another 2 years, thankfully, because I'd be missing their graduation Friday, or I wouldn't have actually taken on the gig if it
yeah.
was my first group, probably. But yeah, a
Well,
couple more years for
I
me.
didn't go. I don't think I was in a right place emotionally to go.
Yeah,
So
heck, I might go next year just because I don't know if I'll have as much of an attachment to that other group because it's not like there were freshmen on the varsity, or not. I don't know if there were any freshmen on the varsity in my first year.
there were
So
3 or 4 of the players that I called all of their career because
uh,
they were on they were on varsity as freshmen, and they made their impact and continue to make a huge impact over the next 3 seasons after that.
got more attachment to these current juniors and uh current seniors, which stinks that I'm missing these seniors this Friday, but I'll see them all. A lot of them are playing sports again, so that'll be cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, anyway, that is the episode, BJ. We just kept talking for a little bit of extra content.
that's all
Make sure you
good.
guys are following us on socials wherever you watched us at today. Make sure you're subscribed or followed wherever you were watching this live at, either on Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. And then give us a follow over on Twitch. Or at on TikTok, excuse me, and Twitter and Instagram as well at _lowdown. That's THA_lowdown. And make sure you shop at either T Public or Fanatics or both, and support the show. We appreciate you guys supporting in general and listening and watching and engaging in the chat today. We will catch you again next time and next week as we look forward to another edition of the Lowdown.
NBA Finals next week.
Yes, sir.